Bleacher Report published an article talking about every team should target in the free agency this upcoming summer. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel once again. Let's get right into today's video. Bleacher Report posted an article talking about Dream 2024 free agency targets for every NBA team. And for the Knicks, the number one option, they put down De'Anthony Melton. De'Anthony Melton from the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I don't know a lot about him. I know before Philly, he played in Memphis. I know he's a two-way player, and he's more known on the defensive end. This past season wasn't really his best season. He only played 38 games, and I believe that's because he was dealing with a back issue all season. If you take a look at his numbers here, 11.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, 3 assists, converting 38.6 from the field, 36% from three-point land, 83.5% from free throw. But I feel like to get a better gauge for De'Anthony Melton, we should take a look at his stats, not this past season that just happened, the previous season. And in the previous season, 2022-2023, he played 77 games, which is a way better sample size, averaging 10.1 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 2.6 assists. Now, it says that De'Anthony Melton is listed as a point guard and shooting guard, so my brain automatically went to the Jalen Brunson minutes whenever he's not on the floor. And with De'Anthony Melton, I believe he's around like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". So having a backup point guard with that amount of length and that height, going up against other point guards, that's where my brain went. I would love to see that. Now, of course, this all depends on what happens in this upcoming summer with OG Anunoby, with Isaiah Hartenstein, with Mikal Bridges, if they're going to trade players. If OG Anunoby asks for too much money and then he leaves, definitely De'Anthony Melton will probably be, I don't know if he'll be number one on the list, but he'll definitely be at the top tier of the Knicks list, whatever the list is. I feel like the Knicks would be targeting De'Anthony Melton because he's probably going to be somebody that's going to be able to just fill the shoes of OG Anunoby. But obviously OG, between De'Anthony Melton and OG is the better option as far as defensive capabilities. And as far as offensive, I'm not sure if I'm going to be giving that to De'Anthony Melton because I just haven't seen enough of him. And now with this back issue, which only let him play 38 games this past season, OG Anunoby, he is a little bit injury prone as well. But maybe whoever plays under Coach Tibbs with those type of minutes, 48 minutes a game, maybe they're going to pull a hamstring as well. I don't know. But if there's one thing that De'Anthony Melton is, he definitely fits the mold of what the New York Knicks is trying to build. And you can tell that the Knicks are trying to build a defensive team that's a lot of grit, no excuses, tough, defensive, guard-minded players. And another big key is somebody who doesn't turn the ball over as much, which De'Anthony Melton, he does not have a high turnover rate. And it also depends on what the Philadelphia 76ers are going to do this season. This offseason, the 76ers are rumored to be linked to Paul George, to Jimmy Butler, the reunion of Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. And I think the Philadelphia 76ers said that if they land Jimmy Butler, they're going to offer him the max as far as re-signing and extension. So you got to take that into account. And the Knicks are projected to have $12.9 million for free agents, and De'Anthony Melton is an unrestricted free agent. Now, I went back to his 2021-2022 season when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies. Looked up his numbers. He averaged 10.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.7 assists, and he played in 73 games in that season. So that season he played 73. So is this just a hiccup? Is he an injury-prone player? Or are we going to be able to, if the Knicks were to target him and if we were to sign him, are we going to be able to rely on him as far as just playing? And in that season with the Memphis Grizzlies, 2021-2022, when he played 73 games, he averaged 40.4% from the field on 9.5 attempts. He averaged 37.5% from three-point land, and that is on 5 three-point attempts. Free throw percentage was 75%. And then in the 2022-2023 season with the Philadelphia 76ers, which he played 77 games, he averaged 42.5% from the field on 8.5 attempts. Three-point land, he averaged 39% on 5 three-point attempts, which is definitely good. Free throw attempts, he averaged 80%. So this guy, as far as the field goal percentage, he's always hovering around the 42%, 40%. Three-point land, the first season he had with the Philadelphia 76ers, that was definitely his better year with 40% from three-point land. He's shown to be able to spread the floor, absolutely, which is something that we're definitely going to need if Julius Randle is going to be coming back healthy. You know how he likes to attack the glass. Jalen Brunson as well, Josh Hart as well. Dante DiVincenzo is more of an outside player, but you know he likes to crash the boards. You know he likes to take it to the rack. If De'Anthony Melton is someone that we target, we're going to need somebody to space the floor. We're going to need somebody to give the space for Jalen Brunson to work, for Julius Randle to work. And on top of that, De'Anthony Melton, we're not going to be asking a lot of him. Depending on the players that we retain, he might be coming off the bench. If we retain OG Anunoby, then more than likely we're not going to be able to get him, so we don't have to worry about that. But if OG leaves and De'Anthony Melton is the one that we pick up, he might be inserted into the starting lineup. But the good thing about De'Anthony Melton is that more so he'll be relied on the defensive end. We're probably going to put him on the best offensive player. Whenever Jalen Brunson is on the bench, and then De'Anthony Melton could take up that point guard mantle for those minutes. But with Brunson on the floor, with Randle on the floor, De'Anthony Melton will probably be put on the best offensive player on the opposing team, which I'm not mad at that. Again, like I said earlier in the video, he's around 6'6", 6'7", I believe. Length, always in your face. He's a big pest. And that's what he made his name. And before I wrap up the video, let's just stay in hypothetical land. So in hypothetical land, let's say we strike out on OG, let's say we strike out on Mikal Bridges, and let's say we land on De'Anthony Melton. So now I started to think, De'Anthony Melton, would we rather have him come off the bench? Because if he's coming off the bench, then we're going to have to insert Josh Hart into the starting lineup. So if Josh Hart is going to be in the starting lineup, we're looking at Brunson, Dante, Hart, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. If we keep Mitchell Robinson as well, because injury-prone player, you know what I'm saying? All right, so those five. And then we have De'Anthony Melton coming off the bench. He's able to provide offense. He's able to provide defense. Or we could just switch it around. We could put Josh Hart back on the bench and then De'Anthony Melton take that starting position. Thinking about it, I'm not opposed to either. But if I had to choose one, maybe Josh Hart starting because of the chemistry, because of the camaraderie between the Nova boys, Dante, Jalen, and Josh Hart. We saw what they were able to do in the playoffs this season. So if we're able to get maybe a full season of that moving forward, you never know what can happen. Now, if we retain OG, we know what the starting five is going to be. Jalen, Dante, Josh, Isaiah Hartenstein, and OG. But what if we were able to get Mikal Bridges? Throw away De'Anthony Melton. And throw away OG because we don't retain him in this situation. So in this situation, we're able by some miracle to get Mikal Bridges through a trade. Now, I don't know the players that would have to be in that trade. So some of the players that I'm mentioning right now might not be part of the team. But my hope and my belief is that the Knicks are trying to get Mikal Bridges without ruining the Villanova core. And the Villanova core of Hart, Dante, and Jalen Brunson, they want to be able to add Mikal Bridges to that. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Before I wrap it up, I want to remind you guys to leave it in the comments. Let us know what you guys thought about this De'Anthony Melton proposed target in the offseason. Do you like it? I know it depends on what's going to happen in this offseason. Hartenstein, OG, Mikal Bridges. If we get Mikal Bridges, then De'Anthony Melton, obviously, we're not going to rely on. We're not going to need to pick him up because Mikal Bridges, between the two, is the better player, in my opinion. So there's a lot of moving factors. There's a lot of dominoes that need to fall in order for this to happen. But let's just live in fantasy land for a second. If we strike out on OG, if we strike out on Mikal Bridges, I feel like De'Anthony Melton would be a nice player that we could fall back on. But leave it in the comments, let me know. And until next time, guys, you know the drill, you know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president, Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. The Deuce is loose in Brazil. He's out in Brazil chilling on the beach. Salute to Deuce. But I'm out. Peace.